Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon just for extra support. Nothing exclusive there. At least no plans for that. Yesterday, I completely forgot to do a program of gaming news. Again, I had already selected some articles that I wanted to cover yesterday, but again, in the middle of work and all that jazz, only before going to bed, I noticed that I had everything open to try and cover. Also, I spend a little bit more time starting to editing the live streams that I've been doing for Death Stranding 2. And again, I cannot at this moment in time commit to any fixed schedule on the live streams, but I can at the moment continue to do the publishing of the previous game. So Death Stranding 1. It's 67 episodes. I already uploaded them all to the channel. So I can do a proper cadence of publishing them until it's wrapped up. And then I will start publishing the VODs from the streamings that I've been doing of Dead Stranding 2. I've been enjoying the game. So far, again, I just did 4 live streams. I think I have around 15 hours or so, give or take, on the game, including the pause. I don't know how it counts there on Steam. But yeah, around about 10 to 15 hours, let's say, of the main story. Didn't progress too much. I just did basically arrive to Australia. But yeah, I'm enjoying a lot of quality of life improvements regarding at least comparing, sorry, to the previous game. Yeah, I'm enjoying. Again, I will, as much as I can, I will do the live streams and continue to play that game and eventually publishing the VODs. Everything again, it's in playlists here on the active gameplay series folder here or separator. Yeah, basically that's it in terms of the channel itself. So let's go. I will cover something that from yesterday's articles that I wanted to cover and a couple of today's things that caught my eye. It seemed that during the weekend and Monday and the such, there were some rumblings around. Again, I didn't see this until like Monday, basically after I did my gaming news episode, that supposedly there were leaks of the 60 series regarding in terms of performance and all that jazz. Again, it from the leaker itself, again, it doesn't say the Red Tech Gaming or Red Gaming Tech or something like that. Again, this it's not very trustworthy in the sense that the leaks that came out in terms of this 60 series or the 6000 GeForce stuff there. Again, it's very speculative, at least at minimum. Sorry, and we don't. It's not even been corroborated by anybody that usually covers and usually leaks informations regarding upcoming GPUs. Again, we don't see any specifics kind of a thing here. It's just what mainly we are seeing here is like common sense stuff that we are expecting to see on the next generation of the NVIDIA GPUs. And again, this article from Video Cards basically covers that again. And even any kind of specific at this moment in time, any detailed specification thing here, because it just tries to cover like a range of I don't know, things that they want to say here. Again, doesn't seem to be that trustworthy in the sense that it's something that comes from inside NVIDIA itself, given that also we are still a little bit far away on the process of how GPUs are done in terms of having kind of something that they want to achieve. So the goals in terms of performance, we never heard anything like that. Probably during the summer, we might see better information coming out or more realistic information, given that again from the information that we saw, that again I try not to cover this. Supposedly they want like to double the performance on RT, so ray tracing, and around about 30 to 35% uplift in terms of rasterized performance. Again, it's there is no real data. Even the information that you got regarding the VRAM things there in terms of speeds and memories used, again, it's kind of what we are expecting already. So there is nothing like properly covering the thing. But yeah, I think it's like a missed shot here from the person that tried to leak this. But yeah, so far, don't trust that much unless you start seeing corroborations or certain leaks. Usually, interestingly enough, a Copite Chemi or something like that usually he seems to be a good leaker in terms of the information that comes out. Usually it confirms, it has more hits than misses. And usually Moore's Law is that usually he also seems to have some good insiders regarding the information that he brings out before products can come out. So I will be paying more attention to this kind of people than anybody that out of nowhere will tell you that they have a scoop or something like that. In terms of continuing with the industry, supposedly there is, again, this memory stuff here. Market is all over the place. I think that I need to try to delve deep a little bit more of what's happening regarding the RAM industry, mainly because of how AI, the bubble, is behaving. I think I saw some stuff regarding OpenAI shutting down Sora. So the generative AI video app that they had, they shut down. They lost like $1 billion from Disney or something like that. Again, there is something rumblings around, plus some information that I just saw on the glimpse regarding the fact that the OpenAI said that they want to reserve the capacity of production of RAM from TSMCs and other manufacturers. Again, I think it was not binding, so I think there is a lot of things on the background that they are playing out. Also contributing by the fact that I covered last Monday, if not mistaken, the fact that supposedly Google has a new algorithm kind of layer that reduces the needs of these algorithms need that much memory, which might explain a little bit the fact that some DRAM kits are lowering in price, even though it's not the prices that we saw since the spike from last year. Again, I think there is a lot of factors contributing to a certain degree that we might see some RAM prices coming down. But again, it's a little bit speculative. But then we got other things that might counterbalance and that, including this article here is explaining that Micron is looking to stack GPU memory modules to behave like high bandwidth memory modules, which is something that it's not been done. This is not something for certain. But again, because supposedly there is this demand of needing these high bandwidth memory modules, usually for AI workloads, there is, and because of the supposedly shortage of those production of those kind of memory, again, seems that Micron is trying to see if they can find a kind of a workaround for the high bandwidth memory modules, which is basically stacking GDDR memory modules, like we saw with the Ryzen CPUs, the stacking of layers to have more memory. Even though, again, if they manage to in some way do this, like put a stacking on these kind of memory modules, it will not that be, it's not going to be that fast as HBM memories modules are done at the moment, but it's kind of an approximate kind of performance gap that they try to reach, and also to try and fix the lack of high bandwidth HBM memory models out there in the market there. But something interesting again, but if they manage to go around and find and implement this solution, again, you will see less memories coming to GPUs, and then less GPUs being manufactured, or GPUs coming with even lower VRAM that we are used to see, or very limited supply there. And eventually that will increase price on GPUs. And again, we've been seeing that GPUs lately, given from NVIDIA and also AMD, they are not being targeting not even MSRPs. even after all this time, after coming out on the market, even though they are at least 1 year old GPUs being on the market, we're seeing them reaching sky high prices there. And the fact that we have also had previously Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO, coming saying that, how they said, he put it in a very interesting way, which is, it's not restriction. That says basically the less product there is better for NVIDIA, because then they can basically tell what the price is. But yeah, hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully there is no need of finding this alternative solution for HBM memory modules. So we have one less of a reason to increase prices on upcoming GPUs or already GPUs that are on the market or models on the market to be increased in price. Then we got something out of nowhere regarding cables. Again, these cables specifically on newer or better formats. It's not the right word, formats. For HDMI and even DisplayPort cables, the better or the better versions or the upcoming versions, even though they provide more bandwidth, and with more bandwidth they can provide playing things in higher resolution at higher frame rates. Usually, given that usually these cables need active electricity or active power from both ends for the cable to work. Usually, the more frame rates and the more bandwidth is needed to feed the cable, let's say, to transmit the image and usually sound, which HDMI for sure. The cables need to be kind of shorter to provide the proper bandwidths provided on the versions of the DisplayPort and HDMI. And that usually limits the possible solutions that somebody has to assemble a cable. Again, I think Hardware on Monitors or Hardware on Box, their monitor channel, covering the DisplayPort 2.1 or 2.2, I don't remember which one. Again, the fact that the specifications, they just basically recommend like 1 meter cable, which is nothing. You basically have to glue the monitor to the case, so that limits how you can configure that. But supposedly there is an alternative, at least for HDMI 2.1 cables, which is through fiber optics, which is very interesting. Given that fiber optics just doesn't need to be, the information now is passed, just basically don't need any kind of power. There is this content creator, basically there is kind of a solution for this, which is kind of HDMI adapters, which needs to be powered. They need to be actively powered. I don't know from which end. I assume from the monitor side or the GPU side there, to have enough power for the HDMI signal to be sent throughout the fiber optics cable. But again, the fact that it only needs like 5 volts USB power to operate. Again, you can see here on the image this adapter here. And supposedly you can just put a fiber optical cable up to 300 meters, and there is basically no latencies because it's like speed of light, and he guarantees the fully operable bandwidth of HDMI 2.1, which can be around 8K at 60 frames or 4K at 120 with dynamic HDR, ER, VRR, and ALLM. Again, this company that uses this, again, seems to be that you can operate really something from up to 1 to 300 meters, it seems. And it's not that expensive, depending, again, of what you want. It's not that expensive of what you're trying to propose here as an alternative. But yeah, very interesting stuff here. Again, if you have something, I don't know, I assume people that might have enough money to just put the box or the PC case in another room and they just want to have everything displayed in another room. I think a solution like this might be a consideration. I don't know. But yeah, interesting how they went about it and basically have different implementation of HDMI and how length of cables basically is not an impediment for that. But yeah, I found it that interesting. In terms of gaming stuff, there we saw, I think yesterday, basically that Eidos Montreal canceled a game, and they did some layoffs, 100 and something people. And again, this comes up with the fact that this supposedly canceled game, I think it's basically this announcement came after the layoffs were announced on that studio. And also David Amfosi, which is basically the head of the studio for for some years now. I think he was supervision or gaming director of Deus Ex, the remakes, if not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Again, it seemed that we had a little bit more context of these layoffs, the fact that a game that was already on the phase of debugging, which is kind of almost the final phase before you get to gold, did it already spent hundreds of millions of dollars supposedly. This cancel game, supposedly the code name of this game was Wildlands. It started beginning development 2019 before the pandemic, but again, you can see here that supposedly he underwent with 4 game engine changes, which is not good, plus all major internal conflicts over the narrative direction of the game itself. Again, since the pandemic and all the DEI implementations through high ups and corporations, again, it affects creative directions of the games that we saw for the last 6 years, give or take. So again, we will see more of this happening for sure. Some cancellation on projects that maybe start 2021, 2022 that are supposed to probably launch this year, next year, something like that. We will see some of this happening more, or continue to see. But yeah, it's one of those that again, more people got fired. Again, the Eidos Montreal studio was Crafton. It was under Crafton. No, Embracer Group. Sorry. Basically, the Embracer, somebody from Embracer Group decided to just cancel the game, even though they spent already hundreds of millions of dollars. And again, as you can see, the company already spent this money. They will not recoup this money, so they had to cut the expenses, and probably will affect more, I don't know, studios that are under Embracer Group, because they did a buying spree a few years ago, if not mistaken. And again, and then you have all the pressure of the remaining studios that are under Embracer to that are developing game. They really need to be a big hit to try and compensate for the losses of stuff that are canceled left and right in these companies here. And then, of course, they are competing with indie developers or small developer studios regarding the market of games. We saw, for example, the fact that it's still on early access. Slade Aspire 2 is being selling bunkers, even though it's early access. It competes in terms of attention and time played with all the major launches that came out around about the same time. But yeah, we will continue to see this in the AAA space, let's say. But yeah, and basically the last game that they did here from Eidos Montreal, which was supposedly a good one. Usually I cover this game when it's on sale for sure, which is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. It seemed very good game. Again, I managed to claim it for free on Epic Game Store when it came out at the time. I still didn't play it. I was thinking about doing a gaming series at a time. But then again, a lot of music is copyrighted. I didn't want to go through that. Probably I will play it one of these days and give my opinion regarding that. But again, it seems to be a consensus that game was a very good game, even though it didn't sell busters. Again, I think it was a little bit regarding a lot of Marvel's games that weren't that good, and the fact that also the contributing fact of some of the later movies and series that came out didn't have positive reception. So I think it went down a little bit under the radar, this game. But it seems a good game from my understanding there. And then regarding other things, again, we got a good news here, which is Shift Up, the studio from Stellar Brave Frame, acquired Shinji Mikami, new studio that he founded after leaving Tango Gameworks, if not mistaken, which calls it the new studio is Unbound. Again, we don't know anything else than that this announcement. I'm assuming Shinji Mikami is working on the game. I'm not sure exactly which game is going to be. Hopefully, it's a good game. Shinji Mikami is very well known, I think, from Resident Evil and again the Evil Within games, if not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but at least that's my idea from him. But yeah, hopefully it comes up with a good game. And again, yeah, Stellar Blade sell pretty well. This again, we will see a little bit of driving through in terms of investments and acquisitions, more companies in the East, mainly because they're being hitting the target in terms of sales and the quality of the games. Overall, it seems to be on average way better than what we've been seeing of the more traditional Western studios. And with that, they have more capital to invest in acquiring smaller studios or studios that might be in some trouble but have great capacity to produce good games again, and maybe also buying some IPs here and there. I think we will see this trend a little bit continuing there. Then we got again, we're seeing some news here and there regarding Crimson Desert, and even supposedly Kliff's actor basically confirms that the story suffered a lot regarding the game. It's kind of one of the weakest point, it seems. Again, I didn't play the game, but it seems a consensus that the story is like the most weakest point of this game, even though again it seems like a huge playground in terms of activities and stuff that you and gameplay systems that you can interact in the game. It seems to be the stronger point there, and also the battle there, even though it seems that sometimes can have some spikes in terms of checks on not abilities on it's I completely forgot the expression that I wanted to use, a skill check kind of a thing there. But yeah, it seems that the actor that voiced the main protagonist, Kliff, again, he goes around that again. The first couple of years, it seemed that he was basically voicing for kind of a demo kind of a thing there, and then he said was nearly 2 years into recording that they sort of said, well, we're going to start recording in earnest now. Basically, he thought in 2 years out of nowhere, now we're going to really start recording for the proper game there. Again, does it bode well for the story? Again, I'm not sure how well the story can be fixed or patched. I'm not sure it can, because usually, again, in games, the stories usually on games is core or central to the game. When it's launched, is basically you can add to the story that you want to tell. Usually, you cannot change that much, I suppose. But yeah, hopefully they can kind of patch it afterwards in adding more things that can improve on that part there. But yeah, it's one of the things that it seems to be the weakest point of this game. Eventually, I will try to play this game because I'm curious about it, mainly because of seeing how well the engine behaves itself. It's one of the things that I don't like see the supremacy or the mono. Oh my God, I forgot what the expression I was to use. Sorry, sometimes my English doesn't go that well. But the monopoly on the market of game engines regarding Unreal Engine. Again, we got Decima Engine again. Talking pushing the Death Stranding 2 again, very fluid engine. The if you've been watching my streams or if you want to catch the VODs later, and even in 2019 from the first game, the way that the game really does manage to give high fidelity graphics, and you can see that because it was a part of the artistic direction that Kojima wanted to go. It pushes really detailed graphics even in 2019, in a way that it doesn't. You don't need like high-end hardware to play at least 4K native 60 frames, stable 60 frames per second. The first game I played with even my hardware at 4K 90 to 120, if not mistaken, 4K native push to the max. This new updated version of the game engine, I'm at least comfortable on pushing 4K 60 without any needs of any kind of upscaling or fake frames. And again, it is an improvement regarding the first game. But yeah, it's one of those things that I like to keep up just because, again, this is a proprietary engine that it might, I don't know, bring something new to the market. And I don't know, hopefully people will keep doing at least proprietary engines that are good and take the graphic or the art direction of the projects that they want to do, and not just throw out every like DLSS 5, everything has to be realistic, and it removes a little bit the art direction that some projects might want to take, not taking into account that they have to be hyper realistic. And then lastly, we got here an update on the sales of this game. After 2 weeks, he managed to sell 4 million copies. I think a few days ago, last week, I covered it sold 3 millions. And now it seems to be selling well. Again, people, I think, are having a better sense what this game is about. And they are making their choice of buying or not the game itself. But yeah, it seems that again, if people are aware of what this game is, they are probably more willing to take a chance on buying the game and not get disillusion of what the game is or is not before it got launched there. But yeah, this is what I got for news. I'm just going to wrap up with some gaming deals. We still have some deals here and there. We got Bioshock, the collection. Again, I do recommend this. I played I play all the games, but not the remastered versions. But the remastered versions of the first two, plus Bioshock Infinite and all the DLC stuff there is on sale, 80% off for the trilogy. We got Miasma Chronicles. Again, I think this might be a good one from the reviews that I saw. It's an improvement from Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden game, and you can buy it as a bundle with both games. Again, Mutant Year Zero I can recommend when it's on sale. But if you just want to check Miasma Chronicles, you can buy it for 70% off. Again, I think it's pretty cheap. And if you like kind of XCOM kind of games, I think this might be a good one. We got also Prey. Around about a day or so until this wraps up. Again, I can recommend this game, especially at this price point. I've made a series on this one. It comes from Arcane, immersive sim. I really did enjoy this game. And if you are curious, you can check out first couple episodes to have an idea what this game is about. And then last we got Red Dead Redemption 2. Again, it's one of those. Again, 75% off on the base game and 80% off on the Ultimate Edition. So it might be a good option for you to lose yourself in a more immersive world there. But yeah, I'll wrap up here for today with a plug on my Patreon as usual. Nothing exclusive here. Everything that I publish here on Patreon is available elsewhere, both on YouTube and on Rumble. The only thing that I do more exclusive is on YouTube doing the live streams at the moment. But yeah, I will continue to try and as soon as I can to continue the live streams there when I have time during the day. But yeah, other than that, I think that's it. If you have any question regarding my setup on the live streams, feel free to jump in. Maybe I can answer any kind of questions that people might have regarding my setup. But yeah, other than that, hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.